Hi everyone, this is Edna. I am coming to you again from Phoenix, Arizona, and today we are going to talk about F1 student visa. How do you come as a student to the US to study in the US? If you need to immigrate to the US as a student, you need to learn how to apply for F1 visa. If you do have a child that needs to come to the US to study, make sure you watch this video so you can learn a few things on how to process F1 visa. Before I continue, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can be able to watch other videos in future, and send this video if you think it's going to help somebody. And above all, give me a thumbs up so that we can be able to be notified if I put up other videos. That being said, let's go on to learning a little bit about how to get an F1 student visa. First of all, you need to be able to have finished high school and you have an high school diploma. Once you have passed your high school KCSE exam and you have a diploma, or in Kenya we call it KCSE certification, you need to apply to a course in the US. Make sure you apply to a school that is SEVP certified, which is the Student and Exchange Visitors Program certified. You cannot just apply to any school when you come as a student to the US. It has to be approved by the Students and Exchange Visitors Program. Once you get a school, usually they recommend you apply a 4-year college. I have seen people apply into a 2-year college so long as it's accredited by the Student and Exchange Visitor Program. You apply to the school. You have to stay in school full-time, so that means you have to take 12 credits. You have to be proficient in English, meaning you have to prove that you took your examination, your school was taught in English. Otherwise, some school will require you to show a TOEFL exam, which is an English exam that you can do online and be able to prove that you can speak right English, because most of the US colleges, you are required to read right in English. So they have to prove that you're able to do that. Otherwise, they will require you to take some classes for English proficiency. Once you have applied to a school, you've sent in your high school transcripts, you have proven that you have English proficiency, then you need to find a proof of sufficient funding. That is a bank statement that shows that you're able to financially support yourself in college. The US does not want people coming in and depending on the system, or the students coming in and not being able to pay their school fees. One thing you need to keep in mind is that as an international student, your student fees is going to be a lot higher than the local students. So I think it's usually 2 to 3 times more per credit hour for international student than is for local students. So just keep that in mind. They will require a little bit of a higher bank statement, I think 3M and above. So once you have a bank statement, then you can send it to the school. They'll prove that you have some funds to pay for school. And then after that, you need to show that you have some sort of ties to your own country. They don't want people migrating into the US and coming to stay here, definitely. They want you to show that you have ties, you have family back home, you have land, you have reasons to go back to your own country after you finish your studies. You're coming as a student, so they have to have proof that you can be able to go back home. So you have to have family ties, definitely. You have parents there, your siblings are there. All that stuff is proof that you have some ties back in your own country. After they have established all that, you've sent in your transcript, your bank statements into an approved college. The college will issue what we call an I-20. An I-20 is just a confirmation that you have been admitted to a university in the US as an international student. Once you get the I-20, that is your ticket to getting a visa. Use that I-20 to go to any embassy near you to apply for a student visa. We're going to talk about the process of getting a visa, once you have obtained an I-20 in the next video, but it's very important for you to know that you need an I-20 in order to apply for a visa. To apply for a visa, you will need a passport. So make sure you have a valid passport to be able to process for the visa. A few things you need to know as an international student. Once you come to the US, they will probably require you to pay some tuition for the first year at least, because you might be able to get jobs in college, but usually it's only 20 hours that you can work. That is not sufficient to be able to pay for your tuition, so that keep that in mind. It's become a lot harder nowadays because of strict immigration rules. They don't give you a social security, which is a social security number, which is a number that you use to seek for employment outside school, but you can work in school. They'll give you, after 2 or 3 semesters, they'll give you a social security number, but that social security number states that you cannot work without authorization. So just keep that in mind. When parents, you're sending your children to the US to come for studies, make sure you have at least sufficient funds for the first 2 semesters so that the kids don't come and suffer when they come into the country. I have seen people come here and drop out of school within the first year because, hey, they don't have school fees for that first semester they come in. They are struggling. They don't have the roots. They cannot give you employment in school. As soon as you arrive, you'll need to be in school for a little bit before you can seek employment in school. And usually by the time you get here, these classes have started. Other students have taken those employments, so it might take you a semester or 2 to actually secure an employment, and they cannot give you a working social security number if you don't have employment. So just keep that in mind. I've seen a lot of students come here and suffer a lot because their parents just send them here and they expect them to come and be financially independent. That usually really is frustrating for those kids. Immigration rules have changed a lot. So just keep that in mind when you're applying as an F1 student. There are a lot of opportunities here, but like I said, the problems are usually financial. When they get here, if they don't have support system, and if you send a child to a state where you don't know anybody, make sure if you have loved ones in other states that you inform them so that they can be able to support that student that has come from as an international student, because there's just so many challenges as international student as it is that you need a lot of support system. So until then, I hope this video helped you as you're planning to apply for F1 as a student visa to the US. If you have a child or a loved one that wants to apply for F1 student visa, make sure you send them this video so that they can watch and get some tips on how to apply for student visa. Until then, God bless you, and we will see you in the next video. We'll talk a little bit about how to obtain a visa next time, what you will require to be able to obtain a visa as a student or any other type of visa. Mostly really as a student, because there are some specific requirements as a student that you will need to adhere to or to be able to prove to be able to obtain a visa, because you can get an I-20 and not get a visa to come to the US. So I-20 is not a guarantee that you will get a visa to come to the US as a student. It's just a stepping stone. And the other avenues, like getting scholarships, we'll talk about in the next videos. What big of a bank statement you'll need to be able to come or to obtain a visa. Some of the few questions that you need to really answer appropriately when you're in the embassy to be able to obtain a visa. So getting an I-20 is not the end of the road. It's just the beginning of an adult. And then after that, you have to obtain a visa. We'll talk about it next time. Until then, take care of yourself. Hopefully you learned something from this video. God bless you, and talk to you next time.